At what point is enough for the Brooklyn Nets owner Joe Tsai? Like, at what point do you just say, all right, it's time to just tear it all down, build it back up? This is a reputable businessman. This is a guy who is on record saying he'd rather have a 40-win team that he's proud of than the team he has. You know, Sean Marks and just the organization as a whole is just an absolute just flop and failure. Sean Marks won't do anything without, Joe Tsai's input. And Joe Tsai is just publicly trashing Kyrie, trashing everything. Yet he just continues to allow and operate with the headlines being everything other than basketball. Yet they continuously say, him and Sean Marks, that they want it to get back to basketball. But then you have like the Ime Udoka hiring and all of this stuff. And it's just like, at what point do you just say, okay, this is an unprecedented circus that I do not want to be a part of? At what point does the NBA step in and say, like, you need to sew up your organization here. You need to fix whatever you got to fix, because this is just a bad stain on everybody. It's just a level of dysfunction that I don't think we've ever seen in the NBA before. And it just continues to get worse. Now, not only do you have all of the Kyrie Irving, just controversy that's going on, and Joe Tsai and him conflicting, and the, Players Association basically saying like that Kyrie needs to play, otherwise they're going to step in and then they're going to cause a problem. And it's just like, at some point, you're going to end up not only getting sued, you're going to continue this headline for the next year or so. And it's just, it's an absolute mess, right? Like, get rid of Kyrie, trade Kevin Durant, figure out what you're going to do with Ben Simmons and start over. Start fresh, get back to basketball. It's not fair to the fans more than anything. Like, the fans are the ones that are keeping you alive, and you're not doing them a service. Not only that, but like your whole, coaching situation and just, the Kyrie situation, the Kevin Durant situation is just so convoluting your franchise with the headlines and just all of the circusry around just the narrative rather than basketball. And then on top of that, you had your way out this past offseason, chose not to do it. Nobody blames the Brooklyn Nets for trying to make this work, right? Every team in the league would have went and got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, right? You did it. It didn't work out. Move on. It's getting carried away. It's every day there's a new headline and a new story. And now today there's a new headline about Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant is, throwing shade at his starting five, basically saying that, the only reason that people expect us to win is because I'm out there, right? And you don't have a good record. You're not winning games. You had a nice little run when Vaughn first took over. But Kevin Durant's talking about how he wants to practice and no coaches really want him to practice, and he spoke to Steve Nash about practicing. And he's talking about like all this dysfunction. He wanted Steve Nash fired. He wanted the GM fired. It's just, he's bringing it all up again. He's talking about the trade and talking about how, he tells Chris Haynes that he was just dissatisfied with the Nets and their practices and the team chemistry. And he didn't believe that he could win with this organization, and that they weren't, that they didn't take it seriously enough to come winning especially coming after an organization like the Golden State Warriors, to a team like Brooklyn where, basically Kyrie calls all the shots. It's like, this is insane. And it's like nothing's changed. Nothing. And it's at some point you got to say, you know what? Enough is enough. The Players Association is getting ready to step in. You have this road trip. They're keeping Kyrie suspended at least through the road trip. There hasn't been any word that Kyrie has done one of the things on the list of 6, which he's not going to do. The Players Association has came out and said that is not okay, and that, he's not going to do that, and that you need to have him play. You need to reinstate him. We saw what happened with the Ben Simmons fiasco, right? Guess what? The Sixers, at the end of the day, ended up having to pay him. So you're just going to pay Kyrie Irving to sit at home? Fine, if that's what you want to do. And guess what? All of Kyrie's, quote unquote antics and just controversies, whether they're warranted or not, are all off the court stuff. And if you still have him attached to your organization and he says or does something, guess who's responsible for that? You are, as an organization. It's just an absolute mess. You have Kevin Durant, basically just trashing the organization every opportunity he has. I understand that this was an interview and he was being asked these questions, stuff like that, but he just recites the same thing. Like, the organization is dysfunctional and I can't win with these guys, and what do you expect? He just, every opportunity he's had to tell somebody, like, hey, This organization is terrible. That's what he says. And then this whole Ben Simmons thing, Ben Simmons has to come out and defend himself and says, he's not, making up these injuries, and that everything, like the swollen knee thing, is real, and that it's not just like him just trying to get out of playing. And then there's this growing buzz amongst the organization and players that he just doesn't have the competitive drive and he doesn't care, and they question his passion. Ben Simmons has to come out and say, like, no, like, I have the passion, I have that competitive edge, I'm just injured. And it's just this never ending cycle of just nonsense, right? Like, at what point do you just say, tear it all down? Trade Kevin Durant for the best package that is available right now. Trade Kyrie Irving for the best package that is available right now. If it's nothing, then it's nothing. You move on. It is what it is. Preserve your cap space. Try to, get Ben Simmons to work. And, maybe if you don't have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and you don't have these like championship aspirations this year, maybe he comes in and kind of get himself right again. Maybe he can kind of work it out, let him sit, whatever, and just run with what you can get. Do what you can. Look, you don't have any draft picks. Your draft picks are due to, the Houston Rockets and all that. Like, I understand that, but what are you going? You're going to be in a worse position next season, right? Because Kyrie's not going to stay. Kyrie's leaving. Ben Simmons doesn't seem to be a fix at any point. And then Kevin Durant at some point is just going to say enough is enough. I want to be traded again. He's going to want out. If it's not this season, it's probably going to be in the offseason. And now you're trading him again. And teams aren't going to give you what you want regardless. You're not going to get that huge, insane, unprecedented haul. You're probably not. Because why would a team do that? Why would a team sell everything they have to go get Kevin Durant when you're just dysfunctional? You had your opportunity. You had teams that were willing to give you essentially whatever you wanted, and you blew it. You had your opportunity. The Lakers would have given you whatever you wanted for Kyrie Irving. You could have gotten both first-round picks. You could have had them work out a deal to go get Miles Turner. You could have done 15 different things. The Lakers would have done whatever it took to get Kyrie Irving in the offseason. But no, you wanted to try to make it work. You wanted to try to figure it out. And it became a bigger disaster than it's ever been. I mean, this is like unprecedented stuff. We have never seen something like this. And I was saying from day one that this was going to happen. I have videos, I have the receipts, go look. I said repeatedly that the Brooklyn Nets are a bad day away from this whole thing, just this whole house of cards crumbling down. You have three of the most unreliable stars or players or whatever you want to call them in the league, and something's going to happen. Kyrie Irving at some point is not going to show up. Ben Simmons is not going to play or not going to play well, or he's going to be in his head, or he's going to do whatever. And Kevin Durant at some point is going to want out. And like everything has happened so far except for Kevin Durant wanting out. And sooner or later, he's going to want out again. He's already, slightly throwing his players under the bus. Granted, to be fair, a lot of like what is going around in the Kevin Durant interview is out of context. Like, he was speaking in the flow with it. He was talking about like, just him and his stature and like where he ranks amongst the greats and his history and like what is his legacy and stuff like there's a whole interview about it, but he was comparing and saying, like you look at like Royce O'Neal and all the guys that we have in the starting five and people expect us to win because of me. Like, yes, but like, do you hear guys like Luka? Like, look at Luka's starting five. Right? Like, it's not like he has like this super star-studded starting five, but he's not complaining. He gets it done night in and night out. It's just, it's an absolute dumpster fire in Brooklyn. And it's just like Joe Tsai is supposed to be this owner that, wants what's right. And, he's this moral compass guy, not even counting, like, don't even want to get into like all the just shady and, dirty stuff that he has going on behind the scenes. But beyond that, he's talking from an organizational standpoint. We want to get back to basketball and we want this and we want that. Clearly you don't. Clearly you love the press. You love the headlines. You just want to be in the spotlight, or your organization to be in the spotlight, and you don't care if it's good or bad. Because right now, that's what it looks like. Every decision that they make is just another controversial decision that keeps them in a negative spotlight. And it's just like, what point do you just say, all right, I'm done. Trade Kevin Durant, whatever you can get. Sean, whatever you can get. I don't care. Whatever it is, go get it. Get the best package that is available. Talk to all the teams, engage in discussions, get the best return you can. Trade Kyrie for whatever you can. If you can't trade Kyrie, buy him out. Let him move on. If he goes to the Lakers, he goes to the Lakers. Who cares? Ben Simmons, we'll try to figure out Ben Simmons. But at least you got rid of two problems. Now you have just one, and maybe you could work that out. And if not, then, figure it out. Have him be a bench guy until his contract expires. It sucks. It makes you cap strapped, but hey, you got to live with what you got to live. Nobody would knock you if you did that. Nobody would be like, oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. The conversation, the headline would be like, this was a disaster, but it has been. You have one playoff series win since this team has been constructed. You've lost James Harden. You've blown all your opportunities, but at least you tried. That's more than more organizations have done, right? At least you made an attempt, a real attempt to try to go make something happen. But right now, all you're doing is ruining your future. Because what superstar is looking at this situation going, man, I can't wait till I'm a free agent to go to Brooklyn. Because if I go to Brooklyn, they're going to handcuff me, if I want out or something happens. And on top of that, like if any little bit of controversy happens, the owner's going to come out and just condemn me. Like it's just an absolute mess. You're ruining not only your present, but your future of your franchise. And at some point you have to look at like the bigger picture here. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think yes, trade, blow it up, get it over with, get it done? Or do you think no, stand strong, stand pat, try to figure it out? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, let me know down in the comment section below.